Welcome to this special edition of the Ultimate Sports Podcast. This is my 2019 MLB Offseason Prediction Podcast. I was supposed to do this late last week and then earlier this week, but circumstances held that back, and we already have the Yasmani Grandal signing, and no, I did not have him signing with the Chicago White Sox. I had him signing with the New York Mets. So, without further ado, I'm going to do my free agent predictions first, and then I'll do trades. Free agency, ABC order by names. We'll start with Madison Bumgarner. I have him going back to the San Francisco Giants. He's loyal. There's a reason why they didn't trade him at the deadline last year, and I have a feeling that the Giants want to rebuild a little bit, but I think at the same time remain competitive, and a part of that plan is to bring back Madison Bumgarner, so I think ultimately they'll bring him back, which would surprise some people. Trevor Cahill, I have signing with the New York Mets. He's a reliever, obviously. The Mets need some bullpen help. They need help in like that seventh inning area and some with mop-up duty, so Cahill, I think, would be a nice pickup there. He had a nice year at the Angels last year. Cole Calhoun, I have signing with the Cleveland Indians. I think they lose Yasiel Puig, and they're going to have a hole in the outfield. Calhoun would be a nice pickup. Nicholas Castellanos, I have signing with the St. Louis Cardinals. I just think that the trend of ex-Cubs signing with the Cardinals and vice versa will continue here. I do not think that Marcell Ozuna will be back with St. Louis, so instead they bring in a guy in Castellanos who hits for power and somebody who is in his prime right now. Robinson Chirinos, I have signing with the Milwaukee Brewers. I have him replacing Yasmani Grandal there. I initially had Chirinos to the Mets, but I switched it to the Brewers because Grandal went to the White Sox, so I made some changes with these picks. Actually, no, I had I didn't have Chirinos to the Mets. I had Grandal to the Mets, and I had this prediction. I had it as the same. Garrett Cole, the most coveted free agent out there. I have signing with the Texas Rangers. They're moving into a new ballpark. I think that this team is going to try to win now, take advantage of possible penalties that the league is inevitably going to give the Houston Astros in this cheating scandal. So it should be interesting. I think that Cole will be a perfect addition to lead their rotation into the new ballpark. Josh Donaldson, I have signing with the New York Yankees. I think this is going to be this year's version of the DJ LeMahieu signing, where it just surprises so many people. And everybody's just like, what the heck? The Yankees got Josh Donaldson? Just like last year, what the heck? The Yankees got DJ LeMahieu? It's going to be the same thing. And ultimately, I think that they will make some changes with some of their infielders, which I'll eventually get to in trades. But yeah, I think Donaldson would be a nice fit, even though he's a righty, and the Yankees have a righty late in the lineup. But Donaldson is still a very good player as far as I'm concerned. I think he can land himself a nice little 4-year deal, just like Yasmani Grandal did. Brian Dozier, I'm signing with the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs are a team that I think are going to make changes around their ball club, and Dozier, a nice power hitter for that lineup, hits lefty and righty. I think he's a switch hitter as far as I'm concerned. Sam Dyson, the reliever, I'm signing with the Red Sox. The Red Sox need some bullpen help. I don't think the Red Sox are going to be like big spenders this offseason, but I do think that they'll sign some guys that will fill needs as they try to at least be competitive in the AL East. Edwin Encarnacion, I have signing with the Tampa Bay Rays. I predicted that he was going to be traded to the Rays before the season, but ultimately he went to their division rival Yankees and played well for them at times and then disappeared in the playoffs. I think that the Rays need a DH, and Edwin Encarnacion would be a very nice fit. He knows the AL East very well, obviously. He owns the Red Sox pitching, so I think that Encarnacion would certainly make that lineup better. Todd Frazier, I'm signing with the Washington Nationals. I obviously don't think they're going to bring back Anthony Rendon, so they find in a nice replacement for Rendon, somebody that's a right-hander, can hit for some power. Did not have a good Mets tenure, but I do think that he can still be helpful to a good team like Washington when he's probably going to be hitting in the bottom of their lineup like he was when he was on the Yankees for that short period of time. Brett Gardner, I have re-signing with the Yankees. I think this is a lock. Obviously, Aaron Hicks is going to be out for most of next year, so Gardner coming off a very good season. I think they will bring him back for one more year to play decent center field and to hit a little bit for them. Alex Gordon, I have going back to the Kansas City Royals. Been a Royal for life. Somebody that can mentor the young kids there on that team. But yeah, so Alex Gordon, I have back to Kansas City to help that young team grow with new manager Mike Matheny. Didi Gregorius, I have signing with the Cincinnati Reds. They have a need at shortstop. I think that he'll take advantage of their short porch in right field like he did when he was on the Yankees. Yankees obviously don't need him. They can move Gleyber Torres to shortstop, which is his natural position, and put DJ LeMahieu back at his natural position at second base, just like how they were set up before Didi came back from Tommy John surgery. Although I think it does make their defense a little worse once they get rid of Gregorius, because I don't think Torres is a great defensive player whatsoever, but he's somebody that could improve, and there's metrics that say he's better at short than second base, and he's really a better defensive shortstop than Gregorius, but you never know. Sometimes statistics could be wrong and whatnot. So Didi would be a nice upgrade over Jose Peraza at shortstop for Cincinnati, both offensively and defensively. Cole Hamels, I have signing with the Atlanta Braves. They have a need in their rotation for that veteran. I don't think they'll bring back Dallas Keuchel. So why not bring in Cole Hamels, who would be a nice veteran presence in that rotation. The next one is an interesting one. Felix Hernandez, obviously longtime Mariner. This prediction is going to surprise some people, and people might laugh at me because I could just totally see this happening. Like that random free agent that signs with a bad team, dysfunctional organization, everybody just says, LOL, LOL. And yeah, this is it. The Miami Marlins, I have signing Felix Hernandez. I think that this signing would be hilarious, and I think people would mock at it, but being in a big ballpark might benefit Felix this late in the career, especially in the National League. So this is the one I could totally see people mocking, and then it ends up sort of working out a little bit. Rich Hill is a free agent. I have him signing with the Boston Red Sox. He had a brief stint there, and then he went to the Athletics, and then he went to the Dodgers. And obviously Rick Porcello's leaving as a free agent, so Hill can come in and replace him, and he's an upgrade over Porcello anyway. Tommy Hunter, I'm signing with the Dodgers, one of the relievers that's on the market. Hunter is a nice reliever. He's somebody that had some ups and downs with the Phils, and I think that the Dodgers can use somebody like that. Howie Kendrick, the reigning NLCS MVP, I have going back to the Washington Nationals. I think that he's a nice bench piece for them and somebody that means a lot to that locker room. Dallas Keuchel, I have signing with the Chicago Cubs. They have a need in their rotation, and I can see them picking up Keuchel. It's just funny, I have Keuchel and Hamels switching spots, basically. And I have that in a couple cases. You'll see one more I have in terms of a switching sides kind of a thing. So, yeah, I have Dallas Keuchel to Chicago. I think that he'd be a nice fit with John Lester and Jose Quintana in that rotation. And Yu Darvish as well. Jason Kipnis, I have signing with the Los Angeles Angels. I think that they can use a second baseman. And Kipnis would be a solid fit there. Russell Martin, I have signing with the Astros. Obviously, I have them losing Robinson Chirinos, and the Dodgers have their catcher of the future in Will Smith. So Russell Martin to the Astros would be like a nice pickup. Colin McHugh, I have signing with the New York Mets. He'd be somebody that would fit both in their rotation and in their bullpen. They could utilize him like how the Cubs utilized Mike Montgomery and how the Yankees utilized Adam Warren back in the day. And that's how the Astros pretty much used Colin McHugh as well. Mike Moustakas, I have back to Milwaukee. He's just a very good fit there on that team. Brandon Morrow, the reliever, I've going to the Minnesota Twins. He obviously was the Cubs closer, and the Twins need some bullpen help. Marcell Ozuna, I'm signing with the San Francisco Giants. Like I said, I think the Giants want to be competitive while they try to reboot, and I can see them overpaying for Marcell Ozuna in their outfield to help them out. Michael Pineda, I'm signing with the Baltimore Orioles. This is a funny one, but they just need some pitching help to Baltimore. So why not pick up Michael Pineda? Maybe he they find a lightning in the bottle situation, or maybe it turns out to be not so great and they're stuck with another bad contract. This is what the Orioles do, guys. Like, I could just totally see this being like the classic Orioles pickup that bites them in the ass, and this is one that I think will be it this year. Rick Porcello, I'm signing with the Seattle Mariners. They need help in their rotation. I think they lose Felix Hernandez, so I think that Jerry Dipoto signs Rick Porcello to maybe a 2-year, $30 million contract or something like that. Yasiel Puig, I'm going to the Angels. This is the one where I have flipping situations. I have Puig and Calhoun pretty much flipping spots. So Yasiel Puig goes back to Los Angeles, except the lesser team, and he becomes teammates with Mike Trout. Anthony Rendon, I have signing with the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers will be lauded the big winners of free agency, and people will pick them to win the AL West next season, possibly when the Astros deal with the loss of Garrett Cole. And in theory, the Rangers gain, according to this podcast I'm doing, and all those scansions. So Rendon would obviously be a really big get for Texas. He makes their offense better. He'd be hitting either second or third for them in their lineup. And they also have Rougned Odor. They have Elvis Andrus. They have some other nice pieces there, and I think they're a team to look out for this offseason. Tanner Roark, I've signed with the Colorado Rockies. They need some veterans in the back end of that rotation. Heijun Ryu, I've signed with the San Diego Padres. I think they missed out on Garrett Cole and Steven Strasburg, so they go to the next level, and they pick up Heijun Ryu, who was a Cy Young finalist this past year. I think he'd be a nice fit in San Diego with that rotation. He could be like a number 2 or number 3 there for them. Steven Strasburg, I'm going to the Philadelphia Phillies. He reunites with Bryce Harper. I just think it's inevitable that the Phillies are going to either sign Strasburg or Anthony Rendon. So I decided to settle with Strasburg. I just think it'd be fitting if it's Bryce and Strasburg, the 2 back-to-back number 1 overall picks for the Nationals, now signing big contracts with the Philadelphia Phillies. I just think that'd be somewhat fitting. So Strasburg, I have to the Phillies to be their ace, along with Aaron Nola in that rotation. And I think that if they go out and sign him with a couple other moves, they'll be a popular pick in Joe Girardi's first season to win the National League East. Julio Teheran, I'm signing with the Minnesota Twins. The Twins need some pitching help, obviously. He'd slide in that number 3 spot with Jake Odorizzi in that rotation. And then, obviously, you have Jose Berrios there. Mark Trumbo, I'm going to the Seattle Mariners. If I'm not mistaken, he was on the Mariners at one point in his career. Obviously, they got rid of Jay Bruce and Edwin Encarnacion, and I think that they're going to try to take chances on guys to see if they have any value at the deadline, and maybe Trumbo will come July. Michael Wacha, I'm signing with the Houston Astros. Obviously, it didn't work out for him in St. Louis. He was so promising. He was so good in the 2013 World Series. He was their best pitcher in the playoffs that year. And then he had a nice year in 2014. Had a meh playoffs when they made it to the NLCS in 2014. He gave up the walk-off home run to Travis Ishikawa in the 2014 ALCS. I believe San Francisco swept the Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. I think that him signing with the Astros would really help him out a lot and really would get him kind of like right on the right track because they have a good history with fixing pitchers. See Charlie Morton, Garrett Cole, even Justin Verlander. Although I think Verlander and Cole are really good on their own, but that's just a good pitching staff there in Houston. But on the flip side, it didn't work out for Wade Miley. He finished the season so poorly that he didn't even make the ALCS and World Series rosters. So I think they take a chance on Michael Wacha. Zach Wheeler, I'm signing with the Los Angeles Angels. I think the Angels miss out on Cole. They miss out on Strasburg, so they settle on Zach Wheeler as they'll pay him like an ace, and the contract for him will be outrageous, a la Patrick Corbin, maybe a little lesser than Patrick Corbin. I could see Zach Wheeler getting like 5 years, $100 million from somebody, and I could totally see it being the panic mode Angels after they miss out on Garrett Cole. Alex Wood, I'm signing with the Oakland Athletics. I think that the A's can use some veterans like him in their rotation. I think that pitching in Oakland would help a guy like Wood being in a bigger ballpark, because being in a smaller ballpark did not really help him with Cincinnati, so I could see him really rejuvenating himself with the A's. Ryan Zimmerman, I have signing with the Texas Rangers to be like a DH for them. I think that he would be another veteran to that lineup that really could use a boost going into their new ballpark. So they signed the two ex-Nationals. And then Ben Zobrist, I'm signing with the Minnesota Twins. The Twins, to me, need another veteran type of guy in their lineup. I'm not sold that Jonathan Scope will be their second baseman going into next year. But if he is, then Zobrist can certainly play outfield for them. They can play right field. Nelson Cruz, they have a DH. They brought him back. You also have Marvin Gonzalez there. So they have a lot of mix of veterans, and I think Zobrist would be a nice addition there to try to even like revitalize his career because he's been going through a lot in his life. Trades. I have 11 of them. I want to nail some of these. So, without further ado, here we go. The Atlanta Braves acquired Giovanni Urshela from the New York Yankees for Kyle Muller and C.J. Alexander. Braves are going to lose Josh Donaldson in the offseason, so why not acquire Urshela, who is coming off a career year with the Yankees? I think that there's a chance that the Yankees are quietly testing the trade market for Urshela and quietly think that last year was an aberration for him. So I could see a world where a team like Atlanta goes out and acquires him to fill their void at third base. And they also have Austin Riley, too. Don't forget about him. But maybe they use him as a trade piece. I know they used him in left field. So I could see a world where they trade for Urshela, and if it doesn't work out, then they go to Austin Riley, who really showed an impact for them last year. The Baltimore Orioles trade Trey Mancini to the Cincinnati Reds for Michael Ciani, Vladimir Gutierrez, and Jared Solomon. Mancini, I think the Orioles tried to flip at the deadline last year, but didn't. And I think that Mancini would have a lot of value to a team like the Reds, who can use some outfield help. The Boston Red Sox trade Mookie Betts to the Atlanta Braves for Austin Riley, Drew Waters, Andy Inciarte, Bryce Wilson, and Ian Anderson. That is a really nice package. So, yeah, spoiler alert, I did have Austin Riley in a trade. So, in this trade, they move him to Boston in the Betts deal. I think that an outfield with Betts and Acuna would just be special. They don't have to give up Christian Pache in the deal. So that's why my Urshela trade makes a lot of sense. So they move Riley in the Red Sox deal. And then Riley could be like a utility guy, DH, for the Red Sox. The Chicago Cubs trade Chris Bryant to the Philadelphia Phillies for Bryson Stott, Mickey Moniak, JoJo Romero, Cole Irvin, and Victor Santos. So Chris Bryant goes to Philadelphia to reunite with his buddy Bryce Harper. So Bryce Harper wins the offseason by getting his buddy Chris Bryant and his former teammate Steven Strasburg. So obviously the Cubs are a team that I think is trying to reboot a little bit, similar to Boston. Windows closed, sort of. And even though those two teams won very recently, 2018 and 2016, respectively, for the Red Sox and the Cubs. But I don't think that these teams want to pay their superstars. So why not get something for them while their value's high? The Chicago White Sox acquired David Price from the Boston Red Sox for Dane Dunning, Jonathan Stever, and Ian Hamilton. Again, the Red Sox want to shed some salary, and I think the White Sox want big names and want to win now, and I can see them taking on the David Price contract from the Red Sox. The Cleveland Indians trade Francisco Lindor to the Los Angeles Dodgers for Corey Seager, Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, Miguel Vargas, and Luis Rodriguez. This would be a nice trade haul for Cleveland, getting a nice pitcher in Dustin May who showed some promise, Seager who could fill in at shortstop after they get rid of Lindor. Gonsolin showed some promise, and then two other prospects in Vargas and Rodriguez. Meanwhile, Lindor is an upgrade over Corey Seager, no doubt about it, and that just makes that team even more star-studded. So instead of going to make the big splash for Anthony Rendon in free agency or Garrett Cole, the Dodgers go out and acquire perhaps the best shortstop in baseball from a team that can't afford him. The Kansas City Royals trade Whit Merrifield to the Washington Nationals for Carter Kieboom, Mason Denneberg, Seth Romero, and Talmito Augustine. The Nats will lose Rendon and Strasburg. So, to at least try to defend their title, they go out and acquire a really good leadoff hitter. He could just stick him in the leadoff spot. Hit Trey Turner second. And then you have Soto, and then Robles should make a jump next year. And I have them signing some other veterans, such as Todd Frazier. And then they have the good catching combo. So Whit Merrifield would give the new champs lineup a nice, different look. The Los Angeles Dodgers acquire Matthew Boyd from the Detroit Tigers for Josiah Gray, Dennis Santana, Edwin Rios, and Robinson Ortiz. Detroit has been trying to trade Matt Boyd. I know they want to trade him. The pitchers that they all have coming up, most of them are better than Matt Boyd. So why not get something for Boyd while his value's high? And this would be a nice package, and then the Dodgers can replace the Rich Hill / Hazen Ryu combo with Boyd, and then you stick in one of your youngsters in your rotation that could fill that spot. The Milwaukee Brewers acquired Jay Happ and Estevan Florial from the New York Yankees for Corey Ray and Braden Webb. So essentially, somewhat failed prospect for somewhat failed prospect, plus a pitcher with a bad contract on one side and then a lottery ticket pitching prospect on the other. So the Yankees get off the Happ salary and the Florial experiment over. So they can clear some cap room to try to lock up somebody like Aaron Judge long term and Gleyber Torres, and make one more trade I have right here. I have the New York Yankees acquiring Indians starting pitcher Shane Bieber for Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, Davy Garcia, and Yoendrys Gomez. Shane Bieber would be a really nice consolation prize for the Yankees if they miss out on Steven Strasburg or Garrett Cole. I think that Bieber is an ace in the making. he was an all-star this past year, coming off the breakout year he had, like I predicted on this podcast before the season. And the Indians, to me, are a team that's rebuilding now. The White Sox are getting better. The Twins are getting better. I think the Indians are rebuilding, like I said. I know they think they want to try to trade Corey Kluber, but I don't think he has that much value. And I think the pitcher they have with the most value is Shane Bieber, and they can get a nice package for him, including possibly your DH/third baseman of the future, a prospect you already had that has some issues in terms of vision and how he sees the ball in the outfield. And then you have Davey Garcia, who's a lights-out pitching prospect, and you have Andres Gomez, who's a rising prospect in the Yankees system. And my last trade's a bit of a surprise. The Pittsburgh Pirates trade Josh Bell to the Colorado Rockies for Ryan Rollison, Michael Toglia, Ben Bowden, and Riley Pint. New GM in Pittsburgh, I think they're going to try to rebuild, and Bell is somebody that is coming off the best year of his career. He was somebody that got some MVP votes, not first place votes, but we're on people's ML MVP ballots, and I think that the Rockies are a team that wants to bounce back. They have Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story, and then they have Brendan Rodgers coming up. Have those three plus Josh Bell in your infield is really, really good. I think there's a chance they dump Daniel Murphy's contract this winter to an American League team that could use like a DH type of player. So I really think that an addition of Josh Bell would make that Rockies offense better. Some other guys I think could be surprise trade candidates. We'll just go team by team here. Arizona, we didn't really talk about them. I think David Peralta could be had. I think that Robbie Ray could be had just like at the deadline. But ultimately they stood pat with those guys and they made some other moves. They made some minor moves. Minor league-ish kind of moves, but major moves at the same time. They went out and got that kid Nick Gallen from the Marlins for Jazz Chisholm. So I'm interested to see what Arizona does. Cincinnati, I talked about them a little bit. I have them making some moves. Talked about Colorado. I have Detroit trading Matt Boyd. I don't think Houston has trades to make. I think they're set offensively. I have them picking up Michael Wacha. Maybe they make a trade for a reliever. Who knows? And one more free agent prediction I forgot. Dellin Betances. I think that the Yankees re-sign him. I just think that the Yankees know him better than anybody, and he thrived with the Yankees when he was healthy for the most part, and I think they bring him back, at least on a one-year deal. The Angels, I have them making some moves. I have the Marlins signing Felix Hernandez, which I think would be hilarious, but I could see a world where he thrives there in the National League in a big ballpark. Minnesota, I have them picking up some veterans. The Mets, I have them improving their pitching staff. I think they're certainly in play to improve the center field position. And I think they're a dark horse to potentially make a bigger splash, notably at third base, if they decide to move off of like Jed Lowry or something. Talked about the Yankees. I think they'll be busy. Oakland, I have them acquiring Alex Wood. I didn't include Mike Fiers on my free agent list because he was involved in the cheating scandal, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. I have Philly acquiring Chris Bryant and Steven Strasburg for Bryce Harper. Talked about the Pirates with Josh Bell. I have the Cardinals signing Nicholas Castellanos. I think there's a chance that they improve their pitching staff as well. Maybe they're a dark horse for Corey Kluber or something. San Diego, I have signing Hajian Ryu. Seattle, I have them making a couple of moves. San Francisco, same. I have them bringing back Bumgarner. And I'm just going through the teams I haven't really talked about. Tampa Bay, I have them signing Edwin Encarnacion, like I mentioned before. I think their pitching is fine. I just think they have to improve their offense. Texas will be a big spender this offseason. Toronto, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I think Justin Smoke's a free agent. I think that they could be a dark horse to get one of like those outfielders like an Ozuna or something, but you never know. And in the Nats, the reigning champs, I have them losing Rendon and Strasburg. And I have them acquiring Whit Merrifield in a trade. I have them bringing back Howie Kendrick and bringing in Todd Frazier. So those are my off-season predictions for the 2019 MLB offseason. And I hope you guys have a nice night, everybody.